let's talk about Nick Bosa. Report came out today that it's not just an ACL injury. It's ACL plus cartilage damage. The Niners hope that the cartilage damage won't prolong the recovery, but they don't know. They hope that he'll be ready for the start of next season, but they don't know. So that's not good. It's not necessarily awful news because it might be nothing. It's not good news. Let's talk big picture with Nick Bosa. It's the second ACL he's torn. He tore the right one, I believe, in high school, and this is the left one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, so he's 22 years old. That's a span of 4 years, four or 5 years. He's torn both ACLs. He's also torn a core muscle. He definitely tore his ACL in high school. Senior year, came to Ohio State with a brace on his knee and was basically a part-time player at Ohio State. Didn't play all 3 downs, was rotated in, which was smart, wasn't overused. Anyway, so 2 ACL injuries, a groin injury. He's not even 23 years old. That's the bad news. The good news is he's had an ACL injury before and recovered 100%. Unless he would have been even better than what he was last year. He looked pretty good last year on a surgically repaired ACL. So now he'll have 2. A lot depends on how a athlete rehabs. From what we see with Nick Bosa, he's the hardest working guy on the team. He's like George Kittle. So he's not gonna, probably won't get depressed, eat a bunch of ice cream, gain 30 pounds, neglect his workouts. He's not going to do that. He's going to come back in really good shape and probably be really good. And Niner fans, I'm sure you guys are already saying, what about Frank Gore? What about Frank Gore? He tore his ACLs and ended up being the Iron Man of Iron Men at running back. He's the most durable running back of all time. So I don't know if this is good news or bad. It's not good news for Nick Bosa, but it's not necessarily a career death sentence. Remember Frank Gore. So we'll see. But to me, with the difference between Frank Gore and Nick Bosa, Frank Gore was 215 pounds, 5'9", 215. There is not as much G-forces on his joints. Nick Bosa is 270. He's 6'3", 270. He's maxed out. He's very big, small guy. He calls himself the smaller bear. He's not as big as his brother. His brother's 6'5" with long arms, longish. It's a bigger frame. Nick Bosa's packed on everything he can to that frame that he calls small. He's putting a lot of G-forces and pressure on his joints. It wasn't a non-contact injury. It was a fluke thing. I'm not saying that it's his fault that he got hurt in MetLife Stadium, but look what happened to J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt had a near Hall of Fame career, and then at a certain point, his body just kind of broke down. And if it wasn't one thing, it was the next, and it was the next. And that happened to him when he was like, 29? Something 30, 28, something like that. And Nick Bosa is not even 23 yet. So it's not a fair comparison. But let's be honest. The Nick Bosa we saw last year looked like a 30-year-old man. He played like a 30-year-old man. He was like the strongest defensive end in the league. He was throwing around fully grown offensive linemen. He seems like he's 30. So I don't know. Maybe he needs to change his workout regimen, take a couple pounds off. I don't know. I don't know what's next for him, but he'll figure it out. I feel like he and his dad and his brother are really good at the weight room and recovery and stuff like that. He should be okay. But it's an interesting thing to look at the full picture of his injury history. And when they drafted him, and I was like being a curmudgeon, being like, don't do it. All I would say is, and I'm not saying I was right, because again, this injury that happened to him was fluky, and it's not because it wasn't a non-contact thing. You can't blame it on his conditioning or his body type. It just happened. But I firmly believe, and you can say I'm wrong, especially when you're picking top 5, you have to look at the full package with the player, not just his athletic gifts. And part of the package is durability. I think it's a skill, the ability to play as hard as you can in a football game consistently and not get hurt. I think that's a skill. Some people think it's just totally fluky, but if a guy plays hard and gets hurt pretty consistently, I'm going to believe that that's his pattern. And I'm going to, especially if it's the end of the first round, I'm going to, okay. Brandon Ayuk, okay. 25th pick, second pick. Guys got to be healthy. And if he hasn't proven that he can make it through long stretches of football without getting hurt, then I gotta wonder. I'm not saying he's injury prone. I'm just saying I don't know that he's not. And I can't check that box. I talk about checking boxes. He checks every box. Top 3 pick has to check the box of can play football without getting hurt. I mean, DeForest Buckner, he's an Iron Man. He plays a lot of snaps. He doesn't get hurt. You know that about him. Top 10 pick worthy. With Bosa, great when healthy. Great when healthy. But wow. So anyway, looking forward to seeing him next year. He needs to figure out something to do to be more durable because he's got every other box checked, right? He's already a Hall of Fame player right now. He just needs to, I mean, he was on track to get more money than his brother. Joey Bosa just got $27 million. He's making more money. He's like making Jimmy Garoppolo money. Theoretically, Nick Bosa would have been making in line to get 30, 31, $32 million in a few years. But the only thing that's going to hold him back is people are going to be like, well, you missed a season. You've torn 2 ACLs. What's up with that? So this is the Bosa project, rehabilitating Nick and getting him durable because Joey really hasn't had these problems. This is a Nick issue. You could argue that Nick is better than Joey, but Joey is on the field more. So let's see what the Bosas do. They're going to put their heads together, Bosa power, and figure this out. I trust the Bosas. Smart group of guys. Bosa will still get paid. Yes. I'm just saying, is he going to get 30? He was going to like break records. Now people could be like, I don't know about that, but I don't know. See what I'm saying? That's a negotiating tactic. That's what Parag Marath does when he's playing hardball. He just goes up an octave. So it's tough to combat that when they go up, when they do the falsetto negotiations. That's a chapter. I took a class on that, UCLA. Ayuk goal? I don't know, man. Please don't make that sound. Okay, no. Okay, now it's 9:00. The game starts in an hour. Go have a Bloody Mary. Go enjoy yourself. I got to go. I'm not going to do any predictions. The Niners are going to win 19-10. And if they lose, I got to wear the denim jacket. I bought a denim jacket yesterday. I did. I took a picture of a really nice one. Best believe I didn't buy that thing. Are you kidding? That was like $90. I went to Buffalo Exchange and bought one for $20. But I think it's pretty fly for a jean jacket. So if they lose, I'll be sporting that after the game. If they win, I'm not touching it. I'll show it to you, but I'm not putting that on my back. Hell no. Nah. So see you guys after the game.